What's going on, guys? It's Daniel from the Coin Spots podcast here. We've got a special Bloodbath edition today. Man, for the past, week or two, we've just been seeing a just crazy tank in Bitcoin and altcoin prices. Obviously, it has been from roughly the beginning of this year, but for the past 2 weeks, we've just been seeing lows and then lower lows after that. People have been trying to call the bottom for a long time now, and Bitcoin is just defying all odds again, except in the wrong direction. So, yeah, today we're going to be making sense of what the heck is going on with Bitcoin here. Where do I think it's going? And then we're going to be taking a look at three pieces of news. One related to stocks and the Dow Jones Industrial Average, as well as the price of the dollar. A couple other, financial market indicators. A headline related to banks not allowing people to buy cryptocurrency with credit cards, and then the big Super Bowl Bitcoin ad with TD Ameritrade announcing Bitcoin futures. So if you didn't know, if you're not in the US, Super Bowl was last night, probably the most watched event in the United States. Had like 100 million viewers, so everything's big on the ads. And we had Bitcoin's first, or cryptocurrency in general, the first crypto Super Bowl ad, which was kind of crazy. But yeah, let's get right into the charts. So I've got two Bitcoin charts that I'm going to be talking about. Right now we're on Coinbase, and man, I'm on the 4 hour on Coinbase, and look at these red candles. This is crazy. So I drew two support lines, and it seems that we've broken this one. So if you can see here, this was the previous big resistance level at 7,500, and then the next one we have is around 5,000. These were the two market tops right before the corrections that happened, and it's definitely worth noting that those are potential support levels now. We're going to see how um, this level holds here, if this holds or not, because we are currently seeing a huge red candle coming down, but we could potentially have a wick and buyers come in, kind of like the scenario that happened here. Not exactly sure if you can see it, but there is a green wick here, and it literally touched this support line to the T, and people, or buyers, I should say, bought it back up. Huge amount of buy volume. There was a bullish engulfing candle, I should say here. This green one right here. However, that was just not enough to signify a trend reversal. And what's interesting about this decline or sell-off is that a lot of this is just no volume here. As you can see, looking at the bottom of the charts, very, very dry volume on this sell-off. So basically what that tells me is that there's just no buyers and there's very few sellers. So buyers, as I've been saying on the past episodes of the podcast, are just not in the market right now. So this is just a quick, brief look at Bitcoin. I've got a better view here on one of the old charts that I had on Bitfinex. So back, I'd say a couple months ago, I was drawing out this Bitcoin channel, and I remember I was calling a top for Bitcoin at around 8,000, so 7,500, 8,000, and we had this very, very brief correction, and then we just shot up from there. And I was kind of baffled, saying, hold on, we're moving a little bit too quickly, based on this previous high, this previous low, this previous high, this previous low. When we you know, we're all the way up here, I felt we were super overextended at the time, and then obviously, as we all know, we shot up to 20K. Looking at this now, Bitcoin has re-entered this long-term channel here. So I'm really looking at the $7,000 area right here at the bottom of this uptrend line for some type of support for Bitcoin. If we break this long-term channel that has been going on pretty much since the beginning of this year, this $5,000 level is going to be huge. Personally, if we break the $5,000 level, that's going to be some concern for me. We've had one 80% retracement before, or maybe it was an 87% retracement before in Bitcoin. So if we just draw this percentage base out here to the $5,000 level, that's a 75% retracement. Let's see where we get at 80%. Probably, okay, 4,000. So if you don't know, back in 2013, Bitcoin had an 80% retracement. And I think that was when the whole Silk Road thing fell apart, and it went from $1,000 down to like 100 something. And it pretty much happened at the same time that this happened, or that this correction is happening. So the beginning of, or I think it was the end of 2013. So December of 2013 is when that top of 1,000 was formed, and then we just fell all the way down to 100 something, and we picked, and that low of 100 was, I think, in August or something. So it was a huge time. Obviously, or huge duration of the bear market, I should say. If we're breaking this long-term trend line, I think we are going to be switching over to a bear market. However, I'm not exactly sure how that's going to play out, simply because Bitcoin has so much more exposure. And as I was saying in the beginning of the video, with those Bitcoin futures now coming out on TD Ameritrade, I think Canada was talking about a Bitcoin ETF. There's so much more exposure, so much more publicity for Bitcoin that I'm not exactly sure how long a bear market could go on. Personally, I don't see it going on, from, when was this? December, yeah, mid-December all the way to August. I really don't see that, possible for Bitcoin at this day and age, right? We could see it, as I said, come down to 5,000 in February, and we could be trading sideways in February. I'm not saying that it's just going to drop like a rock to 5,000. We could probably see some sideways trading in February coming down, and it could touch 5,000. That's definitely a possibility. But right now, I am most definitely watching this trend line to see if we break this trend line here. I think this is going to be very, very important. Back a couple days ago, I was watching this resistance level, or previous resistance, now support level at 7,500. As you can see, we had that market top here before this brief correction. Seems like we broke it now. We could see a wick forming, and then, as I said, people buying that back up, and that would be a nice double bottom, so you could definitely see that on the 4-hour. You're not able to see the green wick, are you here? Oh, it's not on Bitfinex, it's on Coinbase, that this green wick came down all the way here for a double bottom. So actually, that's a good thing to note, that depending on what chart you're looking on, you're always going to get different patterns. The long-term pattern is going to be the same roughly, but for example, here on Coinbase, this wick touched to the T, so we can come back here, as you can see on Coinbase, touched perfectly. On Bitfinex, that didn't happen. So it's always interesting to look at the different exchanges and the charts for the different exchanges, because you're going to get something different. Just like drawing Fibonacci levels from different time periods. You could have drawn it from the 3,000, from the 1,800. I have it drawn all the way back to this $900 level here, and the 0.786 retracement corresponds perfectly with this support, that potential support that we could be seeing at 5,000. So yeah, to sum up everything, just watch Bitcoin in this channel here. $7,000 area to just under 7,000, 6.8, 6.9, maybe a little bit lower than that, but definitely around that area. I want to see if Bitcoin can hold that, but who knows? It's really all a game of the news, because as you've seen for the past couple weeks, the majority of the news has been either negative or uncertain. So, we've started it with the whole South Korea, potentially banning crypto. Obviously, that was just a, misworded or misinterpreted information, coming out of Korea, and, translated incorrectly, or not like literally translated incorrectly, but, if you play the telephone game, the word that starts out is not going to be the word that comes back. That's kind of what I'm getting at. That's the gist that I'm kind of getting at. So we started with that, and then it was the BitConnect fallout, and then the Tether subpoena, and now BitConnect is getting what are they getting subpoenaed? I don't know. Something's going on with BitConnect, and they're going to court. Their assets are frozen. I don't know. But basically, as you can see, when it rains, it pours, right? There was started out with some negative news, and now we've just been getting negative news after negative news, and that's definitely a factor that is driving this price down, apart from the fact that we were overextended. So currently, right now, I'm not too concerned for Bitcoin in terms of, oh yeah, this is crashing forever. No, you know, I was uncertain here, as I said, at 7,500, that we were already overextended. So the move to 20,000 was pretty ridiculous in my mind. And I think if we can just hold this channel, this long-term channel, Bitcoin is going to be just fine. You should be looking now to add to your Bitcoin position. Obviously, not all of your money. Layer your bids, because the $5,000 level is not out of reach. I'm not saying that we're going to go there. It's just that it's in the realm of possibility. It's feasible. But then, as I said, if we break that $5,000 level, meaning we close, especially a daily candle closes underneath the $5,000 level, that's going to be something that is very concerning to me. So overall, just continue watching these charts, and hopefully we see a bounce sometime soon. But definitely a great time to get into crypto right now. Personally, I bought in a little bit around 8,000. I still got a good amount of capital left. I'm thinking that I'm going to be layering my bids around 7,000, and definitely saving up some money if it goes down to 6 and then maybe 5. So that's pretty much my strategy now, is just continue buying in. Got some cheap Bitcoin going on right now. So yeah, moving on to the news portion. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 192 points today. So if you do not follow the stock market, personally, I don't follow it too much, but on Friday, the average fell 666 points to the 666 points on Friday, which obviously is kind of scary, simply because, or it's a superstition, like 666 is the devil's number. Putting that all aside, it was the biggest sell-off that the stock market has had with this bull run since 2008. And the reason why I bring this up is because it's a macro force that people in crypto should be aware about, and kind of seeing how it relates to crypto, because we don't know what the correlation is going to be between the stock market and the cryptocurrency market when the stock market has a bear market, right? I said market so many times. So, for example, like how the dollar and gold are inversely correlated. So, when gold goes up, the dollar goes down. We don't know what relation the cryptocurrency market has when the stock market is in a bear market. And that's why this is a very interesting macro force to keep your eye on and how it relates to the crypto market, because currently we're seeing a sell-off in Bitcoin, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average, S&P 500, all of the technical indicators for the health of the US economy are going down, as well as the price of the dollar. So the whole basket of currencies with respect to the dollar, that price is going down as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of it, because, investors and stuff like that, where are they going to be moving their money? If stock market is going down, if the price of the dollar is going down, right, that definitely leaves the window for cryptocurrency open. But as I said, since we don't know the correlation between the two markets, since we've never seen that, there hasn't been a bear market in stocks since 2008, which is when Bitcoin came out. It's definitely a correlation and a macro force that you should be keeping your eyes on. So just every day when you go and check coin market cap, or if you check the charts on TradingView, just add in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, or the S&P 500, or the price of the dollar, the basket price of the dollar with respect to other currencies around the world, or just look at CNBC, Google Finance, and just see how the stock markets are doing, and kind of try to find some kind of correlation between crypto price and um, how the stock market is doing as a whole. So definitely an interesting macro factor to keep your eyes on. So, next piece of news: banks in Britain and US ban Bitcoin buying with credit cards. Now, this has been, circulating around a lot in Telegram and a couple other, places where I hang out, and, get a feel for market sentiment. This piece of news really doesn't concern me at all, and shouldn't really concern anybody, simply because it's credit cards. Um, it's just banks trying to cover their behind, because with people speculating on crypto and pretty much taking out loans to invest in the crypto market, it's a risk for banks, right? Because obviously with credit, it's money, you're using money that you don't have. So it's a huge liability for banks, because people are going to put it in the crypto market, and right now it's down 50-60%. Are they going to be able to pay that back? So it's just simply a measure to protect the banking institution, really. you know it shouldn't really concern people. If they were trying to limit the ways that we could buy crypto or something like that, that would be different. But you can still buy crypto with a debit card. When you buy it with a debit card, you're still spending money that you have. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend buying it with a debit card, simply because you pay a crazy amount of fees. But with a debit card, you're still able to purchase it. It's just on credit that you can't. So, as I said, really doesn't concern me in the long run, because you shouldn't really be buying crypto with money that you don't have, or especially money you can't afford to lose. And I know that's such a cliche saying, because like everyone in the crypto market is the bull of all bulls. And when we see something like this, a correction like this, it definitely shakes a lot of people up. But the best thing you can do is just hold out. You know, even if you're putting a ton of money in crypto, make sure you can still have money to like live on and pay for some kind of emergency expenses. You can't put everything in the market and then not be able to hold through a correction like this, and then you're going to be selling at a loss. It's just not worth it. So overall, not too concerned about this piece of news. The last thing that we're going to be talking about is the Bitcoin Super Bowl ad. So some big stuff. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, their first Super Bowl ad. Here it is. Bitcoin futures available. Fiesta forever. Definitely something to be pretty bullish about. Obviously, in the midst of a bear market, it doesn't seem to be waving the price too much. Obviously, if this came out and we were back in November and December, I could see the price just skyrocketing. But Bitcoin, first Super Bowl ad or first ad ever on TV is definitely a milestone to keep in mind, and definitely a data point to keep in mind, simply because it's the first and it's getting Bitcoin a lot of exposure. And that's really what we need, because with this volume that we're seeing, we need more volume coming in like we saw back in November and back in December. And that's really the biggest issue now. There's sellers, there's not a ton of sell volume, but there's not a ton of buy volume either. So we're kind of just in this stagnant spot really for crypto, in terms of where are we going? And obviously that has a lot to do with the news, and people are uncertain about whether they should put money in or not. But this is definitely something to keep in the record books for crypto. The first ad on TV. Hopefully the first of many more to come. But yeah, good stuff. Alrighty. Overall, just keep watching Bitcoin. Start layering your bids. I think I'm going to start putting some of my bids around 7,000, which is going to be good. But this could easily just be bought back up. This huge red candle here, it could just be bought back up, and we could have another wick forming, which would be a bullish sign, not anything in terms of a trend reversal, but a good thing to note is anytime you see a ton of candle wicks, that shows that there's a huge amount of support at that level, because when the price touches there, people are just buying up. Obviously, you can see a ton of wicks here, and that was not the case as we dropped. Just as in all charting, indicators don't predict the future. And especially in a market like this, the news does. So hopefully you guys have strong hands out there and are not selling. And hopefully you're getting some cheap crypto at these levels. So yeah, other than that, I think that's it for this episode. I think also that I've kind of gotten a schedule for these episodes. I'm going to be doing them on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Not every day of the week, simply because I do not have time to do that. So hopefully I can get a schedule for these, podcast slash, TV series videos, because I definitely do enjoy doing them. So yeah, I will be seeing you guys on Wednesday.